Hey everybody, and welcome to the Ask Learning Leaders show. This is Coach Mike here, and we are answering any and all of the questions that students and members of our community have. I'd like to welcome you to our Pushi Learning Center here. We're on Hongmei Lu, and we're really excited to welcome you guys to the Ask Learning Leaders show. So without further ado, I'll give you a quick rundown of what the show is going to entail, and then we'll get straight to the questions. So, the Ask Learning Leaders show is made so that you, viewers, members of our communities, partners, friends, and family can ask any question you'd like to the Ask Learning Leaders coaches. To the Learning Leaders coaches. And we will answer any and all of those questions for you on this show. We hope to post it as often as we can, and we look forward to getting lots of great questions. In order to submit a question, you can either ask one of your coaches, you can email ask@learningleaders.com, or you can follow us on Instagram and ask a question there. So, without further ado, let's get into the show. All right, so we have our first question here, and it is from Luke. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Luke Chung, and I'm from SAS Pudong. And my question to the Ask Learning Leaders is, how do you guys come up with your resolutions? Thank you.
Ooh, a good question. So how do we come up with resolutions that we do in practice, from the sounds of it? Well, that's a great question, Luke. And it goes through kind of a multi-step process. First, the coaches will think about what sort of issues are appropriate or what sort of topics are appropriate for the different levels within our program. So for instance, introductory level debaters might be debating different topics or different sort of things than the elite level debaters. And that's based on complexity of the issue, maybe what's relevant in today's world, and also what competitions are coming up. So for instance, if there's an upcoming NDSA or Learning Leaders or international competition coming up a few weeks or a few months away, we might tweak those resolutions or topics that we do just to prepare the students best for those events. So a second thing that we think about also is how much fun the topics are going to be. So there are some old classic debates, for instance, about nuclear weapons or about dress codes in schools that are really fun and engaging, and they're classic debates where there are tons of arguments on both sides. We also know sometimes that students want to debate more contemporary fun issues, maybe about the dangers or practicalities of social media, or even in one session we debated what are better animals, T-Rexes or ducks. Now, although that one might sound pretty silly, what it does is it forces you as a debater to really think about how to explore these issues and debate on maybe an issue you don't know so much about. So, Luke, we select our topics based on a few different criteria: level, kind of practicality, when there's a debate or an event coming up, and also how much fun we think the students are going to have. So, really, really good question. All right, now we're going to move on to the next one. And let's see here.
Hello, my name is Clayton Kelly. I'm an 8th grader who goes to the Shanghai American School. My question to Learning Leaders is, who is a more politically neutral country, Sweden or Switzerland?
Wow, this is a great question. Clayton, thank you. So what is a more politically neutral country, Switzerland or Sweden? This is a tough one. And honestly, although I might not be a European history scholar, I'm going to give it my best shot, but you might need to check this one out yourself, Clayton, too. Based on my understanding, Switzerland is the oldest neutral country in the world. I think in 1815, after the Napoleonic Wars, it declared its neutrality. And since then, it's been regarded as the world's most neutral country. And by neutrality, I think what we mean here is not taking the side of a certain party during a war. Sweden, on the other hand, I think around the same time in the Napoleonic Wars declared their neutrality, but Sweden during World War II, I think, supplied weapons to Hitler's Germany, and has taken place also in the Finnish uprising or in a Finnish War too, where it lost a lot of its land. So Sweden, based on my gut reaction, is going to be a less neutral country than Switzerland. A second part of this issue maybe is that Sweden is a member of the EU and Switzerland is not. So in that sense, because Sweden is a member of the EU, they need to be more responsive and supportive of other EU countries. It's because I believe that that's a treaty or a pact that the EU countries have. Meanwhile, Switzerland is completely independent. So I think both from a historical perspective as well as from a more modern diplomatic or socioeconomic, geopolitical perspective, when we're talking about the EU and the agreements that then govern those relationships of those countries, I believe that Switzerland is a more independent and neutral country. But Clayton, it's a great question, and you may have to check that one yourself too. All right. And last but not least, where's our third question here?
Hi, my name is Ken Khan, and I'm from Huashi Da'r Fuzhou. And my question to ask Learning Leaders is, where is Learning Leaders Center classroom to practice in Shanghai?
Ken, thank you very much for your question. It's great to see that you were able to submit a question to the Ask Learning Leaders show. So Ken, as you know, every week we go to your school near Zhangjiang Gaoke High-Tech Park to do some debate workshops, though we do have 2 training centers in Shanghai. One is on Hongmei Road, as I mentioned earlier, and the other is on Huangyang Road in Jinqiao. So we have one center in Hongqiao and one in Jinqiao. So hopefully we can be convenient to both to both sets of families who live kind of in the suburbs of Shanghai, as well as those in the middle. So we may be moving the centers shortly, we'll see, but for right now we absolutely have one on Hongmei Road and also one on Huangyang Road near Biyun Road. And I think maybe we have time for just one more question here. We have some really good ones submitted by the students, although this is the first time I've answered any of them live on camera. So let's see this next one here.
Okay, so I'm Alex, and I just want to ask Learning Leaders, Chipotle or Taco Bell?
All right, Chipotle or Taco Bell? Alex, Chipotle, 10 times out of 10. Growing up in the States, I went to Taco Bell a few times growing up, but didn't quite do it for me. It's kind of like a Dorito wrapped in ranch dressing inside of, shoddily cut lettuce. Chipotle, fresher ingredients. I'm looking at you, Nikki, Brian, and Jeff, when we went to Chipotle in Toronto at the IAS-PSC competition back in October. Come on, that was the best meal of the whole trip. So, Alex, gotta go with Chipotle, even though Taco Bell does have a soft spot in my heart, being from America and all. All right, so that's all the time we have for today for these questions. And we're gonna end every episode of the Ask Learning Leaders show with a quotation of the day. And we'd love to hear from you, the viewers and the students, to submit your own quotations, and we can feature you guys here on the show. But for today, I'll kick it off with a Learning Leaders favorite. And it goes a little something like this. Today I do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. And that's said by Jerry Rice, although recently been popularized by Ted Chiang at a Shanghai American school. Apparently he says it every single day. But this quotation to me means a lot, because Jerry Rice was well known as one of the National Football League, the NFL's hardest working athletes. It was rumored that he took one day off a year, and that was the day after the season ended. And to me, this represents just the pinnacle of hard work and dedication and perseverance. Even when he reached the highest level, when he was regarded as the best wide receiver in the world, in the US and the NFL, he still worked out, he still trained, he still practiced every single day, except for the one day after the season ended. So Jerry Rice is the paragon of determination and hard work. There's no substitute for dedication to your craft and dedication to your art when you want to improve and get better. So today I do what others won't, so tomorrow I can do what others can't. That's going to be the quotation of the day that we're going to end this session with, and we look forward to hearing quotations from you next time. So again, if you want to ask a question to the Ask Learning Leaders show, please talk to your coach during practice or email us at ask@learningleaders.com. We're going to have that pop up right here. And we're also going to open up an Instagram channel. So follow us on Instagram at Ask Learning Leaders, and you'll be able to see photos and updates from not only the Learning Leaders learning centers, but also from the Ask Learning Leaders show. So thanks everyone very much for viewing. Thanks guys for your questions. Appreciate it, and can't wait to see you next time.